Welcome back to my channel. Today I am discussing what it takes to get into investment banking. It's very competitive, and there are some very common similarities across educational level, across university type, and even across subject type, just things like that I really want to discuss today. But I don't want anyone to be discouraged if you don't have the specific grades that I mention here, or if you don't go to a target university or anything like that. It's not that you can't get in if you don't have those things, or that you definitely will get in if you do have those things. It's just that the average person has these things. Let's start with GCSEs. There are no GCSE subjects that you should be taking to get into investment banking, okay? If you want to take economics and business, take it. It will help you understand the economy more, but honestly your GCSE subjects probably aren't even going to make it to your CV by the time you're applying for investment banks. In terms of grades, you really want to do well in your GCSEs. I think in general, like compared to A-levels, GCSEs are a lot more straightforward, and I know every year they make it a little bit more difficult, but it is a lot more straightforward. So you typically want to get a good string of A stars to A's, particularly in English and maths. At least you absolute minimum want to be getting a B if you want to enter into the financial sector. Not all investment banks ask for them, but a lot of applications I've done, I can't really decipher what industry specifically, but they do ask for your English literature grade, sometimes English language and maths. But GCSEs aren't everything. You have your A-levels to make up for your GCSEs, you have your university to make up for your GCSEs. So if you don't have a good string of A's and A stars for your GCSE, then it isn't the end of the world. Okay, so for A-levels, I'm going to say that there are subjects that won't help you get into investment banking, but there are subjects that will help you get into top universities that will aid in you getting into investment banking. So you want to be doing like facilitating subjects. So if it was to be a requirement to enter into a university to study a particular subject, the facilitating subjects are the necessary A-levels that they would ask for you to do. So for example, if you want to do economics at university, at a top university, they will require you to have studied maths, and a lot of them would prefer and almost basically require you to do further maths. So maths and further maths are facilitating subjects. And so for example, if you want to go and study psychology at university, you're never going to be required to have studied psychology, but actually in some places you will actually be required to have studied biology. So maths, the sciences, English, history, I'm sure there's a list somewhere that you can find. And in terms of your A-levels, you don't have to study maths, but you do want to be competent with numbers. In terms of your grades, I would say at A-levels, like to put yourself in the best position, minimum AAB. Banking don't typically say there's like a bottom line, but like you will see in other industries like corporate law, for example, where they will say AAB minimum. I would apply that standard to investment banking as well. Typical person, right, is the typical person that is going to the top 5-10 universities, and those average candidates, like the average candidate at LSE has 2 A stars and an A. So yeah, that kind of filters into investment banking. If you don't get that, you can still get in. Trust me, I've seen people get in with less than that, but the typical candidate is definitely getting above AAB in their A-levels. What you want to be doing in your A-level, in the 2 years in your A-level, is getting onto some open days. Getting work experience. Work experience can be working. I worked at Chelsea Football Club as a cashier. I worked at Banana Republic as a, what is it called? Brand something. The person that's shop floor assistant, basically. So you really do want to be getting different types of work experiences, and if you can, investment banking firms typically start holding open days in your A-levels. So go on their site and look for it. Go on Student Ladder, really good website, www.studentladder.co.uk. I think they have a bunch of open days and opportunities there. I got some work experience during my A-levels. I did a program with called Big City Bright Future with Inter University and BlackRock, and I interned at Bank of America as part of that. For universities, I would say the biggest thing about universities is where you go. Like, it's not what you study, it's not even the grade that you graduate with, it's where you go for uni. And there are target universities. If you go to these firms' websites, right, these investment banks' website, go and see where they hold their campus, what is it? You know when they go to campuses with their stand and give out stuff? Like, where they're going to set up their stands to tell people to come to their bank, that's where they typically want their candidates to come from. Because you know, like when the firms come to the uni, sometimes they also bring their actual like the employees. It isn't just always HR. And like people were coming in during my internship in summer and they were like, oh, I remember you from visiting your campus like 2 times, or every time I came to your campus I saw you. And you really do get to build a rapport with employees, with HR, and it does make a difference. So many times I've gone to my interviews and my interviewer has been from LSE, and it's an instant connection point, it's an instant conversation starter. There's already a relatability element that usually does help throughout the interview. So your alumni network, university matters as well, because like certain universities are very, very like, okay, I'm gonna use LSE because I'm at LSE. You know, like LSE is the breeding ground for like investment banking, interns, investment banking analysts. And it's because well, first of all, okay, it's the London School of Economics, whatever, but like our career service is A1. You're not getting through the first week of LSE and not knowing what a spring week is. And I'm serious when I say first week. When I got there on my first week, I did a cover letter workshop, I did a CV workshop, there was interview practices going on this was Freshers Week. This was Freshers Week. I sit on the Pathways to Banking and Finance Advisory Board for the Sutton Trust, and it's basically, there's a lot of HR in that room, and the Rothschild woman, she didn't even know that I came from LSE, and she was just talking about like making competitive applications, and she was just like, I don't know what the LSE careers team are doing, but their students' applications smash it every single time. And it really is the career services, and it's not even just the career services, it's the people as well. Like even if you're out like in the club in Freshers Week, people will be asking you, so how many spring week applications have you done? Like, it's real. And I know that some friends of mine went through the first year of university and they didn't know what a spring week was. It is, events. Like, let me use it, like, I know like UCL, for example, they will have breakfast with Morgan Stanley, bowling, we had bowling with McKinsey professionals, there was hella breakfast with JP Morgan's, dinner with JP Morgan, all of these events that these firms put on with these target universities. And it, like, people have gotten internships from this. Like, I know someone who's gotten an internship from a networking event. UCL, always there. Imperial, always there. Oxbridge, at least always one person is always there. Warwick. And I would say, like, university rankings are not it. Don't use that. Go and look at where the firms are doing their careers fairs, where they're having dinners and lunches and stuff. That's a better indicator than university rankings. But university rankings, I don't know what's going on. I think they're based too much on student satisfaction, and student satisfaction is not going to get you a job. Okay, so first of all, this video is mainly for UK people. You don't have to study banking and finance or economics to get into investment banking. And the main reason is our top universities, the ones that I just mentioned, don't even have, like, LSE is the only one who has finance, and that's a new course that was introduced when I started. Like Oxford, Cambridge, UCL, I don't know, just UCL, I don't think any of them have like accounting and finance or finance, especially not at the undergraduate level. So course choices is, if you go to one of those universities, like 8 times out of 10 your course will be respected anyways. It is the case that a lot of people study econ, and I don't think that it's because the banks want students who study economics. I really think it's more so the students who study economics think they need to study economics to go into banking. If so, for example, like, they wouldn't be at Imperial doing careers fairs because there's no econ there, it's just sciences. So it's not, oh, I have to study econ to go into investment banking. You don't. Yes, you'll get there, and a lot of people would have studied econ. If you do want to go and study econ, finance, accounting, study it. Why not? Like, if that's actually what you're interested in, like, absolutely do study it. One thing I would say is it doesn't give you an upper hand, and what can happen is if you study a technical degree, then when you get to the interview, they might ask you more technical questions because they would expect you to have learnt it from your degree. So they might ask you in depth, whereas if you come into banking studying law, they're not going to be drilling in on you. However, there are some divisions, especially with IBD, especially in the boutique firms, where they're going to expect you to know the technicals regardless of what you studied or not, because if you're interested in it, then the idea is you should know stuff about it. In terms of grades, I would, like, absolutely say from my experience, once you go to a target university, you can get a 2-1, you can get a 60 and be fine. Basically, the university in itself holds a brand name, and because of that, you're assumed to be smart and you don't have to prove yourself as much. And even though they won't say it, I would say, like, if you don't go to a target university, or you feel like your course choice isn't all that related, or like you feel like I don't really know, then you really want to be like killing it in your modules. Wherever you go, you should be killing it in your modules, but 2-1 will carry you in general. The grade requirement is a 2-1. So the other thing you really will want to be doing whilst you're at university to allow you to have a competitive application is you have to get work experience at uni. Like, you really need to be getting work experience at uni. Your first year, spring weeks, or summer as well, you really want to be doing something. It doesn't have to be an internship. You could, again, just be working in retail. You could be doing NCS, work on your own startup, on your own idea, but you really want to be doing something in your summer that's really going to look well on your application to prepare you for the summer internship applications. In your second year, you want to be doing your summer internship applications. You want to be doing things that just make your CV interesting in general. So like, I think I mentioned before, like me starting my own project called Made in Hackney was looked upon as very favorable on my CV. Like, every time I had a phone interview, and even in my face-to-face interviews, like, we spoke about that a lot. Be a blog that you run. You want to be doing something that actually makes you interesting, because I would say investment banking is one of the places where, because you're, especially for the front office, because you're dealing with clients, you need to be a personable person. You can't just be like, just because you went to LSE and you got 90s in all your econ modules, it doesn't mean you're going to get the job. It doesn't mean that you're going to get a conversion, because you might not be able to talk to people, and in a client-facing role, you need to be able to talk to people. In terms of personality type, I wouldn't say that there is a personality type, because there are so many divisions, and like on the internship you kind of realize that the market guys were very different to the corporate and investment banking guys. You can even be a quiet person, like there are quiet people there. Yeah, don't feel like, oh, I need to be super aggressive and super like, nah. So that's kind of what it takes. Like, you don't have to be a genius. You can be that person that just works hard and isn't super smart. I feel like I'm that person. I don't feel like I'm super smart at all. I don't feel like I'm naturally just gifted. I really do feel like it's just because I work hard that I've been able to get to this position. If you're watching this and you're interested, it's definitely possible for you. But thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, because I have a bunch of investment banking videos coming. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below so that when I answer them, other people can see. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.